after all. LinkedIn is a social media platform of business professionals. This isn't like Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest that's more consumer-oriented, but it's really about business professionals that really provides you direct access to people, opportunities, and hey, if you happen to be looking for a new job. It's built upon trusted connections, and it's all about relationships. LinkedIn has established itself as really the world's largest and most powerful professional network. And LinkedIn truly is a great channel for each of you. If anything today you take away from this, it's really a great channel for you to be leveraging to grow your business, your design business. So that's my personal goal for today, is that you get a little insight and you at least start using it to build your business. So now let's review what we're going to cover today. First, we will talk about the value of LinkedIn, why you should be thinking about this as part of your marketing. Then we will talk about getting started. Next, we will discuss how to establish a presence for your company and review the features to use to boost your company pages. We're going to provide some tips on how to build and engage followers. Again, we're focusing in on the basics today. We'll talk a few minutes about LinkedIn groups, then provide some case studies on some major companies that are succeeding on LinkedIn. And of course, we're going to save time at the end for questions and answers. So, but before we get started, we wanted to take a quick poll. So I'm going to pass it off to Eric.
All right. I'm going to launch the first question. And if everyone could just click on one of those 5 choices of how you heard about the webinar. This is just to help us see where you all came from. So if you could just say whether it is a sales associate or an email from us, a friend, social media, or other, that would be terrific. Let's see. Almost everyone has voted. Wow, interesting. I'm going to close that and share. Every single person came from an email from 1-800-LIGHTING this time. That's a first. Powerful email program. That's great. Okay, terrific. I'm going to hide that and ask for the people here, do you personally have a LinkedIn profile? Just yes, no, or if you think maybe someone set up one for you a couple of years ago, but you're not even sure how to get in, you don't have the password, put in maybe not sure. But if you are a yes or a no or a maybe, please put that in. And another second here. Okay, I'll share the results there. So most everybody does have a LinkedIn profile. A few people are no, and like I did expect, some people aren't even sure. They may have had somebody set it up for them previously, but do not access it now. Next, for those of you who do have a profile, do you use LinkedIn as a marketing tool? Yes or no? All right, still waiting, about 55, 64%. Another couple of seconds. All right, I think most everybody has voted, and I will share that. Most people do not use it as a marketing tool for now. A few people do. And we will go to the next question. As Georgie said, looking for a job is a great use for LinkedIn or finding people. But if you do have a profile and you've used it for some purpose. Have you ever used LinkedIn as a recruiting tool? Yes or no? All right, that's pretty strong. Everyone has voted. And again, we have a unanimous vote of no. No one has used LinkedIn as a recruiting tool for their business. And the last question, if you have used LinkedIn as a marketing tool, obviously no one's used it as a recruiting tool, but if you have used it as a marketing tool, have you had any success? And again, yes, no, or you're not sure. Okay, a few more seconds. Almost everybody is in. Okay. So, Georgie, the last questions, the answers are, the strongest is no. They have not had any success as a marketing tool. A few people have had success. A little bit more than have had success aren't sure if they've had success, so they aren't sure how to measure probably any activity that came from their efforts. Okay, thank you everybody for your participation in our poll, and I'll go back to Georgie.
Okay. Well, thank you, Eric, and that's some very interesting responses to our poll questions. I really hope today that I can convince you to at least start taking some basic steps to use LinkedIn as a marketing tool. So that would be my goal today, and maybe you'll all connect with me on LinkedIn, which is, I'm always looking for new LinkedIn friends. So if you want to link in with me, that would be great. So let's just talk about the value of being on LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier, is the world's largest business networking group. You know, we're all probably involved locally in networking groups. Think about this as your virtual networking group, no boundaries, right? And if you think about it, LinkedIn was only established about 10 years ago and now has over 200 million members worldwide. They're in 20 countries, and they're adding over 170,000 users a day. That is 2 new users per second. So, and these are business people. So think about it. You think about your other marketing and some of the other things that you're doing and spending time and possibly money. This will really help extend your reach. In addition, LinkedIn has all the executives as members from the Fortune 500 companies. In 2012, there were over 5.7 billion professional searches. So if you don't have a profile, or you have a profile and you don't have any connections, or it's not filled out, you're not even in the consideration set. There are over 3 million company pages. Every major company, even small to mid-sized businesses, have pages. If you don't have company pages, that, you know, would be, you know, like you wouldn't even be in one of your maybe trade directories. You need to get into the game. Over 1.5 million publishers are now pushing their content up to LinkedIn from their website with the share button. You've probably seen that on a number of sites that you might be following. And there are over 2.1 million LinkedIn groups where members are sharing insights, and most importantly, they're networking. So let's talk about some ways this translates directly into your business. First, LinkedIn is a great way to connect, and more importantly, stay connected with colleagues, business associates, and clients. Think of it as a social CRM. I literally use LinkedIn to keep track of the number of people that I've worked with over my career, which has spanned a long time that I don't really like to talk about. And I know when they have job changes or position changes. And so it's really a great way for you to stay up to date and in contact with people. You know, you think about the old business card, somebody leaves a company, I mean, all you have is their old business card. In LinkedIn, you're connected to them forever. LinkedIn can absolutely generate warm leads. I always like to share my personal story. When my partner and I started Big Couch about 6 years ago, we literally started our company and got our first client off of our LinkedIn contacts. And because LinkedIn has authority on the web, having an optimized presence will absolutely help you in your ranking in search engines. And I always like to use the story, if you type in my name into Google search, my LinkedIn profile comes up as like the third listing in organic search. So it'll provide you a lot of authority as an expert in your field. And most people, you may or may not do this, but I talk to a lot of business people. When they meet someone, they'll actually type their name into Google. They'll go and, you know, check you out on LinkedIn. But so it will help you in search engines. And also, LinkedIn will provide you a platform to really establish yourself as a thought leader, build your brand, your credibility, and your overall business reputation. So how has LinkedIn helped businesses? I just want to share a couple of quick facts. About 77% of users say LinkedIn helped them research people and companies. From a personal perspective, you know, many people you meet in business are going to check you out on LinkedIn. So you really want to make sure that you have your, you know, your best foot forward. And you can also see who's viewing your profile, by the way, with the Who Viewed My Profile feature. And also as a practice, I'm always researching people I may do business with on LinkedIn. Second fact, about 50% of users say LinkedIn helped them build new networking relationships with individuals who may influence potential customers. Again, as mentioned before, my company is a testament to this. As a standard practice, anytime I meet somebody in business, I will always follow up and link in with them. As you know, when I first met Eric, I think I spoke to him for 2 minutes, and I hung up the phone and I linked in with him. So that's a good practice to embrace as well. So now let's talk about getting started. Hopefully I have somewhat convinced you that you need to get serious about using LinkedIn. So getting started is very simple. The site will literally walk you through the steps to establish a personal profile. Now, before you can create a company page, you have to create a personal profile, and I would suggest that you would do that anyway. So you'll need to create a personal account, and maybe some of you already, I think, based on our poll, some of you have accounts or personal accounts. You've started an account, you're not sure, you can, you know, actually do a password request from LinkedIn. But even if you have a personal account, after today's webinar, I hope you'll go back and maybe take a second look at the quality of your profile. So how to create a robust profile. So You want to create a robust and winning profile on LinkedIn. You want to put your best foot forward, right? You want to be thorough. Make sure you have a clear and professional photo of yourself. I've seen a lot of profiles that have blurry pictures, or it's drinking a beer at Sloppy Joe's. That's probably, LinkedIn is probably not the place to have that photo. You want to also create a compelling headline, something that in one sentence summarizes your expertise. You want to ensure you include your current and past positions, and then also include a summary of your work experience. And in my case, I have our company overview as my summary. Next, you want to include all the relevant work experiences that you have, along with descriptions of your duties or the company description. Again, be thorough. Once you've created your profile with your headline, all of your experiences, now you want to starting to build some credibility. So when you're filling out your profile on LinkedIn, they're going to prompt you to establish your skills and expertise. This feature then allows your connections to endorse you for those skills. So for any of you that are active on LinkedIn, you've probably seen this because they are aggressively promoting this. And this actually gets prompted to any of your connections when they visit your profile. So you want to make sure that you have all of your skills and expertise listed within your, when you're setting up your profile. And you can always go back and edit that as well.
Georgie, they've added this endorsements. They've had it for a while, and it used to be a personal endorsement, and now they've just made it so easy. They're prompting people to do the endorsements, and this is slightly off topic, but do you feel the endorsements are still a very valuable thing to do?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And so endorsements, and that's a good segue. The next thing I'm going to talk about is recommendations. In the early days, they just had recommendations, and so now they have recommendations and they have endorsements. So the difference between endorsements and recommendations is endorsements are a very quick and easy based on what you've established in your profile, and I'll just go back. So in my profile, of course, I'm just a guru, right? So in my profile, I set my skills and expertise in e-commerce, digital marketing, social media marketing. And so when somebody visits my profile, they could just quickly click on a button, it's a little check, to endorse me for that particular skill. A recommendation is different. This is where you actively solicit recommendations and testimonials from clients or colleagues related to your work at a particular company. So it's a little, the endorsements are more of a pull, because those are prompted to people viewing your profile that are connected to you, versus recommendations. For the most part, somebody could, without you knowing, go in and write a recommendation for you. That typically doesn't happen. You actually need to go out and solicit those recommendations, and then those recommendations show up on your profile associated with the particular company. So even if, let's say, you have job XYZ now that you've had for 3 years, but 6 years ago you worked someplace else, you could still solicit recommendations from that previous company. And this is just another tactic to build your credibility around your expertise. So Eric had a good sort of differentiating sort of endorsements and recommendations. There's a little bit of a blurred line. It will be interesting to see how that evolves on LinkedIn. And the other thing I should just mention, not to get off topic, but as an aside, the other fact is it's changing every day. So you have to try to stay on top of what new features and functionality are available on LinkedIn. And as I mentioned earlier, today we're really just covering the basics because my goal is just to encourage all of you to just get started. But there's definitely more robust features that we hopefully will be presenting in future webinars. So did not mean to digress there.
No, it was a good differentiation. Obviously, I think the more effort is required to put into something, the greater weight it has, and the recommendations seem to they still seem to be much more important than the endorsements, just because the endorsements are so simple to do. But
yeah,
they're both, like you said, it's quickly evolving. So stay tuned.
And the other thing I would, to just go back to endorsements, now when somebody endorses you or even recommends you, so more of a recommendation is probably going to come through something actively you do, but on the endorsements, that's kind of passive to you. Now LinkedIn will notify you when someone has endorsed you for a skill, which is really nice. And I've made it a practice that when any one of my connections endorses me, I send them a personal note. I mean, they didn't have to do that. And again, it's just another way to, engage and with people who were kind of raising their hand to say, hey, I think, Georgie's doing a great job in social media. So just, some food for thought. So in addition on your profile, it's going to show the kind of additional information, which any groups that you're following, companies, any influencers that you're following actually become part of your profile. The groups, when you actually join a group, you can establish the settings in that group if you want it, like that group to show up in your profile. So it doesn't, there's a lot of different settings in groups, but not all of the groups that you follow have to be part of your public profile. You can actually, you can set that up. And really all of these things are aspects that, will show people who are viewing your profile a more rounded picture of your skills and expertise and interest. So now you've created your LinkedIn profile. Let's start building your connections. First, you can simply use the search bar at the top of the pages to search by name. So you could do something as simple as taking all the business cards that you've collected and maybe say, I'm going to do 10 a day, and start searching for those people on LinkedIn through the search. Next, you can also allow LinkedIn to access your email address book. This will give you the option to connect with people who are in your email address book. One or all that they connect with. A lot of people worry about this, but don't worry. If you don't want to connect with everyone in your email address book, you are given the option to connect or not connect with people. So it won't automatically connect you with people. It'll actually show you everybody, and then you can connect or not connect. So that if you have an address book on your computer, that could be an easy way to really start building up your connection.
Have a question from one of our California attendees. If and they're nervous to give their password. They say, if you give your password, can then they see your emails? You know, it's a question of security, I guess. If you're giving them your login name and your password to LinkedIn, could then they go in and take over your Gmail account, is I guess what they're concerned about.
I mean, I guess that could be a potential issue, but I believe in the privacy settings, and I'd have to verify this and get back to you, but there is in the terms and conditions within LinkedIn as to what information is actually shared. So
yeah,
it's not
and I've never
go in and read the email. It's how they
right.
encrypt the password and that sort of thing.
And I mean, I'd be more leery with some other companies giving them that kind of information. But if you're dealing with somebody like a LinkedIn that seems to be a very reputable company and doing things in the best way possible, they're not going to abuse the privacy settings. It would kill them. So they would be
they'd be out of business already.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be concerned about giving that information over to LinkedIn for the purposes of the ease of setting it up and connecting with all the people that you already have connections with. Just to save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Good question.
And I've done it, and I have not had I haven't had any issue with that, but it is covered in their privacy terms and conditions. So the next area is LinkedIn groups. This is another great way to connect and engage in discussions with others, because you can join relevant trade groups. For example, designers, or the designers on our call, you might want to consider joining realtor-related groups in your geographic area as a way of networking. Again, I'm sure you're doing some more traditional type of business networking. This is more virtual in nature. So think about niche groups, maybe builder groups in your area, any kind of really business networking groups, and that sort of thing. So groups is another way to start connecting. So now let's just talk a little bit about building, building your company with groups. So, being active and engaged in relevant groups provides an opportunity for you to establish yourself as a thought leader or industry leader. It's an opportunity for you to build your contacts and followers through engaging in discussions on your expertise. So again, these groups are interactive. It's not a one-way discussion. It's actually two-way conversation. And as an example, these two groups have thousands of participating members. So participating in these groups and people actively participating in these groups are actually seeking out resources, advice, and networking. That's why people join these groups. So think about getting yourself in the conversation into that consideration set. Another great way to leverage LinkedIn groups is to start your own LinkedIn group. And you want to think about kind of your niche and expertise when creating the group. And to build sort of the people in your group, you want to invite your employees, your colleagues, and your clients to join your group. So you can join existing groups, or you could actually start your own LinkedIn groups. So we've talked about creating your personal profile, but now let's sort of switch gears a little bit and let's talk about creating a company page. LinkedIn provides a number of very robust features to showcase your company. Today we're going to talk about the basics because it doesn't sound like, to me, based on the poll responses, that I'm sure that if we asked about if you had a company page, that either a few of you or none of you have company pages. So want to talk about company pages. So what is a company page? A company page can connect you with millions of business professionals. You can use LinkedIn company pages as a way to showcase your products and services, provide company updates, news, and it's also, as we talked about earlier, a great way to recruit for new employees if that's an area of need. You know, we recommend that every company have a company page, and it's very simple. When you're logged into your personal profile, you just click the Companies tab at the top of your screen and then click Add Company. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. The next screen on creating your company page is going to ask you to verify your company page. And the way that they do that is similar to, I'm sure you've seen this before, they're going to send you an email, and that's when you receive that email, you're going to verify your company page through that email. So you click on a link, and voila, you have a base LinkedIn company page. So now, what information should you include on your company page? Much like your personal profile, it's a must to create a robust profile for your company. You want to make sure you have a detailed company description. They'll ask you your company size, what type of company you are, where you're located, your operating status, specialties, what category. As you've seen on LinkedIn, they have companies categorized. So they'll ask you what category you belong in. And also important, make sure you provide a link to your company website. And this will also help with search engine ranking because LinkedIn has a lot of authority on the web, and therefore a link from LinkedIn to your website will help in Google determining your specific authority online. So now let's talk about telling your story. You know, the design field is a very expressive and aspirational field. Make sure you craft a really compelling story. Your company description should be 1 to 2 paragraphs in length. Your description should include your unique value proposition. What differentiates you, or what is your focus of expertise? Why you? And this is just, you know, this is sort of marketing 101. But put your best foot forward on LinkedIn. Make sure your description represents your brand personality. And also, your description should be rich with the strong keywords that represent your business and expertise in your industry. So now you've created kind of the basic description of the company. Now you want to showcase your company's products and services, and LinkedIn has provided the ability for us to do that. So you're going to find the Products and Services tab on your main company page, and because you're an administrator, that's not going to show up for, you know, non-administrative users. It only shows up when you're logged in and on your company page. So by using LinkedIn, you can provide additional information, and it's a great marketing channel to showcase your products, services, and your offers, just like you may do on your website or your blog. And again, having this information is going to demonstrate to people viewing your company profile your level of professionalism and credibility. I can't stress enough, you need to put your best foot forward. So just a little factoid. According to a recent study, companies that have descriptive products and services on LinkedIn have 2 times as many followers as those without. And it's just an easy and cost-effective opportunity to show clients what you have to offer. So if you think about what you're doing from a marketing perspective, is you're really casting a wide net. You're pushing your content out to other channels where target customers may be congregating. So don't think about it as, oh, I don't have time to do this. This is really a very important marketing channel. So if needed, LinkedIn also offers the ability to get very targeted with certain products and services by user criteria. Probably for the folks on this call today, we'll plan to cover that in more detail in the 2.0. Additionally, however, you can also, and you should, include other links, such as links to your blog, because you'll already have your website. If you don't have a separate blog, don't worry about it. You can add videos either on your website or on YouTube, your house profile. So think about all your social channels should really be working together. Okay, so now that you've created your basic company profile, how can you build a following and awareness? First, have your employees all create a personal profile and have them connect to the company page. So that's pretty easy. And I see my future because I know a question will be, I'm worried about my employees being on LinkedIn because they'll get recruited and find another job. And so we can address that at the end because, by the way, they're doing that anyway. At least have the advantage of getting awareness of your company through their followers. But I get that question a lot, so I just like to throw it out there. Next, promote following your LinkedIn page through your other marketing channels. I bet a number of you are promoting follow me on Facebook. Well, there's no reason that they shouldn't be following you on LinkedIn, and a lot of people may have a preference. Again, business professionals use LinkedIn from a professional perspective. However, for designers, I mean, those are potential customers, and certainly resources, ways to network with people. So I would use your other channels, your other social channels, your email signature, direct mail, put it on your business card to say, hey, follow us on LinkedIn.
Georgie, somebody
Yes.
is asking, should you request somebody to follow your business page and your personal page if you don't have a strong connection with them, or one or the other?
So here's sort of my rule of thumb. A company page can be followed by people who do not know you. So your personal profile is about your connection. And so at some point before you're connecting with someone, I think you have to evaluate your level of engagement with those people. So we all get requests, I'm sure, you know, everybody on this call, and it sounds like everybody, you know, pretty much has a profile, gets these random requests for to connect on LinkedIn. And so I don't accept those requests. I typically only accept requests from people that I have met, people who have that are in positions in companies that would, you know, we could mutually benefit each other, or if they, you know, are recommended. You know, if I've asked somebody, it was a forwarded connection. So, you know, so the long-winded answer to that is, if it's yes, you would want to have them follow your business and be connected to you if that person is of value. But at the end of the day, anybody can follow your company page.
Right. So the company page is a little, on the company page, we're a little less concerned about, you know, anybody can join the company page or follow it. But personally, you should have some connection to the people. I think it's the gate's a little stronger than on Facebook, perhaps.
Yeah.
And many times when I get a request to connect on LinkedIn, I'll reply back to the person, I'm sorry I don't know you. Can you tell me if we know each other or why we should connect? And sometimes there's a valid answer. Other times they're just trying to market to me, and then that ends the conversation.
Right. And another point, I'm glad you brought that up, about connecting with, personally connecting with people is, and this, I neglected to put it in this presentation, which I can't believe it because it's like one of the stickler things. When you send a request to connect with someone, and let's say it's somebody that it was a former colleague and you haven't seen them in 10 years. That's what I did, you know, back 6 years ago. And so you want to send a personal message.
Right.
Because if you've used the connect feature, it sort of defaults to a standard message. It asks you how you know the person. And then it says, it has a default message that says, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn network or something like that. Take time to write a personal message. That, I could just tell you, that goes a long way with people, whether it's, you know, somebody maybe you haven't seen in a while, and you're trying to have them recall how they know you. You know, we met 10 years ago at a, you know, this function and blah, 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 blah when I was with this company. And so just, again, try to be as personal as possible when you are actively reaching out and connecting with people. And I kind of look at that when people are reaching out to connect with me and I can't remember who they are, or maybe I met them or they know somebody that I know. And I always pay a lot more attention to the ones who took time to send me a personal, you know, a personal message.
Great, thanks.
Okay. And then last, so we, as far as how to attract followers, add the follow LinkedIn button to your company website, just like you have, you know, your Facebook. And then last, as we discussed, join in on discussions using, you know, using LinkedIn. So with over 200 million members on LinkedIn, it is a large pool of potential customers. So once you have followers, keeping them engaged is absolutely critical. So you need to engage in conversation. Remember, it's not a one way. And here I'm talking about, this could parlay into your personal profile, but I'm talking more about the company pages here. So you want to use the company status updates. And status updates are a great way to reinforce your unique value proposition and your target niche, right? And get, you know, new information on new products or services. You can also share things like design tips and seasonal styles to, again, to keep your followers engaged. So now I just want to go over a few best practices for company status updates. So build a reputation for helping your followers by keeping status updates informative, friendly, clear, and simple. Come up with a schedule. So here I'm just throwing this out there. Consider posting a status update at least once a week. And I know in previous webinars when we've talked about other social channels, you know, it is a time commitment, but it's a worthy time commitment. It's a marketing channel. So again, create a schedule for that. Also, you can experiment with timing because you might find that, you know, the time is different on how people are engaging with your company profile. So, you know, it could be, you know, in the evening. A lot of people are, you know, doing this in the evening. And then you also can use status updates, include in your status updates links to more information. So this is a way, let's say, you know, you have something new on your blog, a new blog post, or you have a new offer, you can actually add a link in that status update that would go to your blog or your website. And by the way, that's very helpful for ranking in the search engines. So another way, great way to engage followers is a new feature that was just introduced by LinkedIn. I guess it was a few months ago, and it's called the mention feature. And this allows you to tag others in your status update so that you can actually create conversations. It works very similar to Twitter because you're using, for those of you on Twitter, or you've probably seen this, you use the @ symbol in your status bar, and a drop-down of the people, of your connections, comes up, and so you can add them to your status update using that @ function, and then that shows up on their page. So they know they're now engaged in your conversation. You can use the mention feature to almost do like a Q&A about, let's say, design ideas, right? And so I might use that to start, you know, engaging with Eric, who then may start engaging with someone else, and that sort of thing. And you can also use it as a way to ask questions, and you can respond by tagging them with the answer in your update. So it's interesting that LinkedIn is like, especially like a Twitter and a Facebook, is trying to create more of that engagement with the people that you're connected with. So that's, I wanted to mention that one, no pun intended, today, because I thought there's a lot of new features on LinkedIn, but I thought that was one, as you're, you know, putting your best foot forward with your personal and company profile, and if you wanted to really start engaging in discussion, a feature that would be easy for you to start using. So, okay. So now we're going to talk about tracking and reporting. The great thing about LinkedIn is they have very robust reporting, tracking and reporting tools, and we all know from a marketing perspective that having the ability to track our efforts is really important. And there's also lots of discussion out there about what the social media data, what's, you know, how are you performing from a, you know, social media perspective. So every company page has robust reporting, and it has follower statistics, how many people visited your page, so that you can monitor sort of how that's changing, how your followers are changing, and how your page activity is changing. And you might be testing different things on your LinkedIn page, so this will give you sort of some insights into how that's impacting how people are engaging with your company page. The Insights tab for your company page is easily found on the home page for your company. So it's, you know, literally it's right at the top. So you're going to use these tracking and reporting tools to measure engagement, measure your reach. How many people are you reaching? You could use this to create goals for growth. You can also get some real understanding into what kind of followers you are gaining and when. And you can get to know more about your followers, such as location, company, job status. So you can really get some important insights from a user perspective. You can also follow conversion, you know, visits to how many people actually started following your page. And then you can view and analyze these key performance indicators as well. So we've set up our personal profile. We've set up our basic company page. We've talked about building followers, and we talked about engagement, and then how we're going to track all of our efforts. So that sort of gives you the basics. Now, I just wanted to spend a couple of more minutes and talk about two particular case studies. So now, you know, research shows that LinkedIn has been more effective in generating business leads than Facebook and Twitter. And again, from a personal perspective, I can attest to that. I built my business on LinkedIn, and I continue to do that, actually. But let's look at a couple of case studies. So first, we're going to talk about Salesforce and how they recently used LinkedIn. So Salesforce used some targeted status updates to promote a conference in Europe. And over a 5-week period, they saw a 30% increase in the engagement from their followers. They also saw a 30% increase in the ratio of comments, likes, and shares. So not only they were growing followers, but they were also growing their overall engagement of how people were interacting with their company content. Hewlett-Packard, now their goal was to get product recommendations. So they actually solicited LinkedIn members to rate their products right on their product and services page within LinkedIn. So a lot of us, and I mentioned this earlier, think about engaging with potential customers where they want to engage with your company information. So if they prefer to engage with you not on your website but on your LinkedIn company page, that's okay, right? Because you want to make it convenient for prospects. So now HP also used some paid ads to gain recommendations, and some of us may have seen those. We didn't really talk about paid ads today, and again, I wanted to keep it somewhat at the basics because, as I suspected, most of you aren't really engaged in LinkedIn. Now, so they used paid ads, and they saw in a very short period of time a tremendous increase in the number of recommendations and followers, and really sort of viral updates, meaning people who they were sharing this information across their their network. So it was very, you know, a couple of very powerful case studies. I understand those are big brands, and so we have to keep it in perspective. But just using some simple strategies and tactics will help build your brand on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has tremendous reach. There's over 200 million users on LinkedIn. It's another great marketing channel to promote your products and services. So we're always, as marketers or business owners, we're always looking for new ways and new channels to reach, you know, reach potential customers. LinkedIn's not going away, by the way, at least not in the, you know, near future that I can see. So, you know, some of us chase some, you know, other channels that aren't as big as LinkedIn. So I just, you know, if it's simply just from what's my marketing plan, please use LinkedIn. That's where you need to fish where, you know, the fish are biting, right? It's a great way to build your brand and credibility. And, you know, last but not least, it is very easy. And more importantly, the basics are free. So the stuff that we talked about today is all things that's just about rolling up your sleeves and you know, and getting it done. In future webinars, we'll talk about, you know, premium, membership, paid advertising, and that sort of thing. But based on sort of where you guys are in your LinkedIn life cycle, just getting involved and committed to the basics, I promise you will go a long way. So now I will open it up for questions.
You did a great job, Georgie. There were several questions that were asked during the presentation, but you got to the answers, so they weren't necessary to break in. There were some comments at the beginning. One was, is LinkedIn just Facebook for business? And I think you've answered that. It's not just Facebook for business. It is a different animal. It is social. You do want to connect with relevant people and put your best foot forward. But you don't share the same things on Facebook that you do on LinkedIn. It is different, and I think you went over that pretty well. You know, I'm just looking down the line of questions. Most people are saying, "Thank you, got it." So I think we're good as far as the questions, and we actually are at 12 o'clock. So was there any other points that you wanted to make, Georgie? I think you hit it great.
Yeah. Again, I know I covered a lot of ground today on the basics, and I hope to you know, engage with all of you in the future to talk about, you know, the next, you know, 2.0 on LinkedIn. And if you want to link in with me, I'd love for you to link in with me.
With the follow-up email that I'll send to everybody, Georgie, I'll CC you on it so everyone will have your email address to connect with you.
Okay. Okay.
So I just want to thank you again, Georgie, and all of our professionals for joining us today. The new online setup with the ID CEC, if you are looking for a CEU, is very straightforward. Ideally, you already gave us your ID CEC number when you registered. If you have any questions, please reply to the follow-up email that I'll be sending out, and I'll get you an answer as quickly as I can. I know many of you joining us today are registered pros with Capital Lighting and 1-800-Lighting.com. As a pro, you know about all the benefits we offer to the design and trade community, from the industry's best tiered pricing structure to our free online directory expert finder to the educational series that we put on like this. We also have two other programs that I'd love for you to help spread the word about, and they are our Realtor and Advantage programs. So if you know of any realtors or other tradespeople, when you do get my follow-up email, just watch each of the 1-minute videos telling you about those two programs, and any help you can give us to spread the word about them would be very, very much appreciated. Lastly, I'd like to say that our relationship with You is a two-way street. Our stated mission at Capital Lighting is to be part of a team to help make the world a brighter place, and we strive every day to add value to our pro community and deliver you relevant content and bring you showrooms and a website that are second to none. I invite you to please share with me or any member of my team your thoughts or experiences with us. We love to hear where we exceeded your expectations or perhaps where you feel we could improve. We have never stopped learning or trying to improve our business, and we appreciate you being with us on this journey. And with that, I bid you all a great day, and thank you, and we will talk again soon. Take care, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.